Here we are, and
back again.
And before
Shady's back.
Shady's back.
Tell
yes,
a friend.
Eminem. Okay, we're gonna keep going with the
songs,
songs, or can I actually get into it?
I'm sorry.
I don't know what's better, Eminem or you talking Portuguese? Like before we started,
I think both are really high.
like I really didn't know Elena was Portuguese,
I didn't know either.
and then
I
did not.
I don't know.
Elena Robinson.
you
I
told me-
thought you were related to, just all the famous Robinsons.
It's funny because people say you don't even look Portuguese.
You don't.
I know.
You
I
look
get
like a
that
Robinson
all
now.
Portuguese
the
look like?
time.
Miguel.
Shorter, darker skin. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mustache.
maybe. I can tell Elena's my favorite Portuguese, but then a few people in the office might be mad, but she's
Yeah.
one of them.
But do you mean that?
I do.
Okay, that's
I
pretty,
do.
That's,
I
that's
love
pretty
that
cool.
you have
We
a
go
lot
a long
of
way back.
Portuguese here.
Not-
We do.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do have
I
quite
like
a bit.
that.
We have to check the box. We have to.
Yeah.
We're trying to get multicultural.
Plus, you always have good food at your events,
Right?
Because you have the Portuguese food.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. The Oliveira team always brings. What do they bring?
Bacalhau.
The bacalhau.
Paella. Right, and you eat it.
I do eat it. I really like it, actually.
No,
Miguel's mom sometimes makes it for me.
the fish is specialty for Portuguese mainly, right?
Yes, grew up with a lot of fish. That's for sure. Octopus. Like my dad. Funny story.
Yeah,
my
please.
dad came home one time with a bunny rabbit. Cute bunny rabbit. We thought it was going to be a pet.
I know where this is going.
I know. Next
love
day,
rabbits.
it's
Did you name
hanging. Oh no,
Okay, good.
almost. But it's hanging in the kitchen. It's like, I guess
In
that's
the kitchen.
Oh yeah, I was like, you got to take the skin out.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
never looked at a rabbit again the same.
No,
Dan loves
I
eating
love
rabbit.
rabbit.
I'm a huge. I love
Dan
rabbits.
loves
I
eating
So
love
do
rabbit.
I.
Yeah, I love
So
rabbit.
no, it didn't deter
You like it better
me.
in sauce or just
Sauce.
just
Yeah.
What's you get?
Nice
it,
tomato sauce.
Sugo, yeah.
You get it in sugo, and the other one
Yeah, on
is
Sugo Sundays, I get that.
I make sugo too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you call it sugosh?
No.
sugo.
You got the Portuguese accent down
Doesn't he
pat.
really?
I practice. I practice.
Did you know they say Portuguese is Spanish with a speech impediment?
I didn't want
You-
to say
you
that,
said
but I'm
it.
glad you said.
You said
Hola.
it.
Yeah,
You
she's
said it.
right. Oh wow,
You said it.
I love it.
You
That's
said
so
it.
good.
But I love the excitement behind Portuguese folks about being Portuguese.
Yes.
I always really appreciate that, So that's nice. Same with Italians as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're proud of her. Like that's the thing about being Canadian, I think. We have that part history. Even though I was born here.
Yes,
But,
which we
you know,
clarified because Dan
yes.
thut you were from Lisbon.
Yeah.
I didn't think
You like to look at my hair. What's wrong? Is it
No,
bad?
it looks great.
I just blow
went
dried
to a
it.
really
Thank you.
nice Portuguese restaurant very recently.
Yeah.
It's at it's like Dufferin and Lawrence. It's called Mercado maybe or
Oh, Mercado. Oh,
Delicious.
excellent.
Excellent.
It's something Mercado though.
Yeah. No,
I think it's
the
just
one where you-
Mercado.
and then
Near
you sit-
Castlefield?
Yes.
Yes, Mercado.
Incredible.
Excellent
Incredible.
food. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just
Another
wanna throw that out
mythbuster
there.
though. So my parents went to Portugal. There's no Portuguese chicken anywhere. Why is that a thing here?
I don't know. Yeah, it's not.
Because like people are like, I love Portuguese food. I have Portuguese chicken, rice, and potatoes. But then you go there and that's not a thing. Like
No,
I'm almost
no,
searching
but-
for
Fresh
Portuguese
fish there
chicken.
right here,
Yeah.
right?
Fresh fish, bafanas.
What's
you
that?
probably.
I
it's
know,
like
I know La Bafana. I don't know
sandwich.
Bafana.
No,
Oh.
no, that's pastel de nata.
Oh,
Wow, I'm
Natlish,
I'm-
Natlish.
You know what?
Yeah, I'm probably
Natash.
butchering it because I don't speak the
This is-
language
Oh,
very
no?
well. No. Even though that when I started kindergarten, I couldn't speak a word of English.
No way.
But my
Because you came from Lisbon.
No, she's from Azores.
From the
Oh,
Azores.
yes, that's right.
No. My parents always wanted us when we came home to speak English so they could learn.
Interesting.
Understood.
Right?
Interesting.
They wanted to be
Pretty
you
smart
know.
though.
Yeah.
Because back then things were getting over their heads. They had no idea what the teachers were saying to them.
My house
true.
was the opposite.
You got a lot. You got away with a lot. You're right.
Right?
Yeah, and you signed your parents
Right?
no because it
I
didn't
heard- I
matter.
heard these stories.
Yeah, you did the same thing.
You did the same.
I got caught.
Really?
I got caught
Tell
hard.
us that story, please. Enlighten us.
Grade,
we don't have that many questions to
so,
go through anyways.
So I moved here when I was 9 years old. My parents did not allow any English in the house because they wanted us to preserve our
Your
native
language.
tongue. So
Oh.
yeah, so
Which which is
Russian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
so
did
I was
not know that.
born in Israel, but my parents are from Russia. So in at home you can only speak Russian. Not allowed to speak. Even today, like I'm 30 years old. You can't
You
speak
still-
English.
You turned
Wow.
30 on Sunday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Oh, happy
30th.
birthday.
Thank you so
That's a
much.
big milestone.
You look
30.
like you're 20 though.
Thank you.
20
You
plus
say
50.
yeah,
20 plus
there it
30.
is, there it
Sorry.
is. I thought you were going to say
50.
200.
No,
Either
no,
way.
50. Every time I tell people you're 30, they're like, he's 30? So yeah, he looks 100, but he's 30.
Yeah. So
I think not 100. You look.
it's because you
look
see,
42.
It's because you could see my brain. It's so wise.
I think you look great.
That's.
We had
what-
Reuben on
that's what you
earlier.
see.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
Reuben. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
It's your show today, Paul.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, you guys,
Sorry.
look alike.
Sorry.
similar.
No, they don't look alike. Reuven, we love you, but Dan's much handsomer. Listen, continue with the native tongue and then how you got in trouble. I'm so sorry. Happy 30th.
Happy 30th.
Thank you. I was really scared to show my parents the grades because they weren't that great. And European parents are very much all about the grades.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I used to sign his signature just everywhere. And I guess the teacher caught on. Called him in. I'm coming back from recess excited. I see my dad sitting in the room. Like, what's this guy doing here? I come into the room. The teacher's there. They got all these stacks of like report cards and tests.
How long was this going on
Oh,
for?
a long time, bro. A couple of years for sure.
yeah?
Wow.
Well, 9 years old, you're in grade 4.
So that was grade 3. That was grade
3 or
grade
4.
3.
Yeah.
Oh, you started
This was happening
young.
from grade 4 to 6.
Right. So they had 2 years of signatures.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
a lot of signatures.
Minimum. And then, so this is all ongoing, and I'm sitting there in the middle between the two of them, and I'm just like, what's the issue? You know, what's wrong? Is this wrong? So let's just say my dad saw every other test going forward, even until today. So
You know what stuck in my head through this story was that I can't imagine you did bad in school. It must have been the language
No,
barrier
I can't
because you are one of
either.
the smartest guys I've ever, if not the smartest person I've ever
I
met.
think it's important to identify the types of smarts that are out there.
Okay.
I wasn't the most book smart, but it wasn't for not being able. It was because I was lazy. And I think that's something that I really worked on developing as I continued to get older and understand that even though you don't love, doing the schoolwork, it's really important to go through it to be able to learn how to critically think. And that's something that I learned as I developed into a young adult, which I didn't have. Like I wasn't scared. A lot of kids are scared to not do well in school because their parents and their other friends, and they want to ensure that they assimilate into being a good student. I didn't care. I didn't have that sort of. I didn't need that affirmation. So, I knew what I was capable of, and I was always a people person, and I just wasn't worried what it said on my English test. So, but as I got older, obviously I realized that was wrong and that I needed to develop and to, be able to, again, critically think. And, that I turned that around.
Good for you.
It's been all about us so far.
Yeah.
Elena, let's
Us
start
in
with
Portugal.
you. Elena, let's start with you and jumping into some of these questions. So you were a broker
Yes, I
for
was.
years before joining First Nat and having an illustrious career. So walk us through, because you were in
Illustrious.
You like that?
That's
I need
really
one
good.
big word on
Illustrious.
episode.
I really
Boom.
liked it.
There it is.
So I didn't start my career that way.
Okay.
I was very young when I started in the industry. I worked for a trust company.
Okay.
Back then, before MFCs were around, it was trust companies, but they all got bought out by the banks. So I worked for Victoria and Gray, or we used to call Vicious and Greedy. And then they got bought out by National Trust, and then it went Vicious and Greedy and Nasty. That was the company that they called. So I was there a few years, and then I went to another trust company, and then to First Nat.
Got it.
So I ended up, now First Nat, it wasn't what it is today. It was a startup. It was essentially 8 people that, it was Maureen and Stephen who came up with this idea. And it was to provide an alternative for the banks, because the banks controlled everything.
Of course.
At the time. So, and they wanted to pay more finder's fee. Like it really started, you'd be amazed how much brokers made back then. Maybe $200-350 a deal.
What?
That was it. And that typically it was you charged for that.
Oh.
And it was a very different mindset too for brokers. Brokers only did like tough deals.
Right.
Like the insured, the good stuff didn't typically go to a mortgage broker. But it started changing, right? Slowly. Yeah. And it's amazing how it is now. But when First National came, so they came up with this idea about being a mortgage finance company as an alternative to the banks. And that's where I started as the first BDM. So there was 8 of us, I think. There are 8 or 10 of us. And I worked there. So I met my husband at the time, who was a mortgage broker.
Nice.
And then eventually we got married, and then I went and worked with him at the brokerage. So that's how I evolved into becoming a mortgage broker, and I was there for, like you say, over 20 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then you jump back into.
I got divorced.
Got it.
Congratulations.
Makes sense.
So
Let's go to Vegas.
I mean, it was amicable, everything,
Of course.
but it was funny because I always loved lending, and it was, okay, where am I going to go next?
Right.
So then I did take a year off and did some other stuff. I owned a cafe with my sisters.
No way.
Yeah, I'm a people person. Like you say, you're a people person. I wasn't like that as a kid, though. I was very shy and quiet as a child. But, you
I love
evolve.
coffee. I wish I came to your cafe.
Was it
I'm
in
serious.
Toronto?
No, it was in Hespeler.
Oh.
Because my sister lives out in Cambridge.
very
Anyways,
cool.
but then that was only like a temporary thing to help them, And I always said, I'm going back to finance.
Your roots,
business. Yeah, I love it. I've never done anything else other than mortgages my entire life.
Yeah.
Honestly, I never worked in the banking, like teller, the trust companies. It was always with mortgages. So then after that little year off, I went, okay, I'm going to go back to lending. And I ended up at Home Trust,
Oh, very cool.
which was great because I'd always come from the A side. I knew more about prime. So it was a great opportunity. I learned a lot at Home Trust about the alternative space. It was a great training ground. I give them a lot of credit for that. And then I was approached to start up Excalibur at First Nat.
Wow.
Yeah, so I pretty much started from the ground up.
Wow.
That is
Yeah,
very
and it's
cool.
evolved, and then I've evolved to my current position now.
So prior to you moving over, they were just on the prime side, First National. Is that correct?
Yeah, they used to have Excalibur, oh my gosh, back in like 2007. Like it was like 11 years since, actually 2009, whenever that whole shit hit the fan,
right.
with
So
the,
So they took that as an opportunity.
yes.
Got it.
Yeah, so they pretty much shut that down because of the investors at the time.
Right.
And then, with the 2016 rule changes, they thought, okay, it might
Let's
be a
revive it.
great time. Yes. Especially for business for self with the stress test, making it a little bit more difficult for everybody to qualify. So that's why they relaunched the Excalibur in 2018. That's when I moved over, 2018.
So you went there as a regional sales manager.
I essentially went,
No?
I went there to help put the Excalibur together. I was the BDM. I was the only salesperson.
You helped stand it up.
Yeah, yeah. We built, the director, an underwriting team, brought some people that I sort of knew over to which they're still there today, most of them. So, yeah, and we've built it, it was maybe 7-8 people, Excalibur. Now it's like 70.
Incredible.
Yeah,
It's a
across
little-
Canada.
It's kind of full
Canada.
circle now that Steven bought Home Trust.
Yeah, privately, yes,
Yeah.
yes, very different. Like it's a different company. We have nothing to do with it, but I mean,
Little bit of a-
he's a smart man. Like as we know, he's CG and biggest shareholder of Equitable, and he's got a private wealth. Yeah, he's got lots. Smart guy.
So let's focus a little bit on the journey, because you go there, you restart up Excalibur, and then over time you've evolved to become. I mean, your role has evolved, right? Because now you're VP of residential sales, and you're doing both. So walk us through maybe the journey. How many roles were in between, or did you go straight from one? It launches, you're there, and you scaled from, you said, all the way up to 70.
There's 70, underwriters, fulfillment, funders, sales. Yeah, it's
Which
a
you
big
were at the
team.
helm of, right?
Yes.
all
Well,
you.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm part of that team as well as the prime team. But, we built up Excalibur. Volumes were great or have been great for the last, I think we're 7 years now. It'll be our 7-year anniversary. And then, so then I built up a sales team, and then the opportunity came up on the prime side. The VP was gone or was leaving. So I was, I had to do the interview with
Yeah,
Jason
of course.
and Scott, and here I am. So now I've a fantastic sales, and I know you know some of them. Yeah, they're amazing people, and across Canada, there's about 50.
Wow.
Like with regional sales directors, and then we call them managers of business development under them. So it's a good team, great team.
So you got to go back on touching the prime side, which was where you started, which is very cool.
Yes. I mean, I love both sides. Don't get me wrong. Excalibur is like my little baby. So, we're supposed to have a favorite child.
Yes, you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to. But come on, we all know. We all have that favorite. Paul, you have kids. Come on.
I do. I have 3.
Paul's got 3 daughters.
Yes.
They're all equal.
They're
It's
listening.
a bit of a struggle for sure, no?
Giving them equal love?
Yes.
At moments, but I try my best.
Yeah.
I try my best. You want to keep asking me about
Who's your
this.
favorite?
I don't have a favorite.
They're all amazing.
I don't have a favorite.
They're all amazing.
They're all amazing.
They are all amazing.
But everyone does say that everyone has a favorite.
Yeah. But
do
you
you
keep
say
it.
that?
You keep it inside.
No, I don't say that.
You just said it.
But if you were to ask my 2 sisters and myself who the favorite is, that we'd probably all have like a similar different answer. I think there's always like the kids will say who the favorite is.
That's fair.
Like who's your parents' favorite?
Me.
Right. And Natalie would say you too?
She knows that.
Right.
But
And do you have favorites? You wouldn't say it over your kids.
I only have one child.
Oh,
so she is my favorite.
There
I don't
you go.
have to
Easy.
pick. Yeah,
what
that's an easy
Excalibur
one.
and your daughter.
That's right.
Oh yeah, you can't do that.
Can't
no,
do
that you can't do.
No. She always comes first.
Absolutely, she
Yeah.
does. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you good with my answer? Or you want?
Well, you kind of danced around it.
I'm gonna dance all night.
He's
around
never
it.
going to answer that
I'll
one.
never answer.
I know the answer.
You think you know the answer?
No, I know the answer.
Yeah, everyone would probably agree with that answer, but I
Oh.
don't. They all think my eldest. They all think my eldest.
I didn't
It's
say
always
anything.
the
I didn't
eldest.
say anything.
I'm the eldest, so I say it's always the eldest.
I'm the middle.
I don't disagree that when I look at even generations, the eldest always tends to be the favorite. That's the first. But you try to break.
They tend to have the most responsibility.
Are you the middle?
too.
I'm the eldest.
You're the eldest. I always get confused between
I'm the
you
eldest
and Lucia.
and the only boy.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay. Italian, eldest only boy. We know who
I
the
don't know.
favorite is. Come on.
I don't know. I think so, but you could ask. Figure it out. But back to this, which I mean, it's been amazing already so far. We've had the pleasure of working with you now, and things are starting to pick up. And you guys have had an incredible run providing an alternative solution to the banks. Mm-hmm. And I really want you to dive into. I know Excalibur is your baby, and we could talk about the differentiator of why people use Excalibur. But First National in general, you've from the beginning of inception, it's always been to serve as an alternative, right? The service first, the quick approvals, and the fact that you've cemented yourself in a space where has been dominated by banks, not necessarily the broker side, but the mortgage space, right? People think banks first. Yeah. Let's talk about that, because that's got to be a lot of pride for anyone that's at First Nat. But let's really, I want to share that with the viewers.
I think the mentality has changed, right? And you'll see it through the different generations, like Gen Zs, for example. They're all online. Right. They're all searching. But they ultimately always want to meet you.
Absolutely.
Right? That's their difference, right? Baby boomers are kind of like stuck with the banks, that mentality, but it's changed. And you've even seen how much the industry, 45% of you brokers now.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was
totally changed from what it was. Remember? And you said
Totally
they used to
different.
come to brokers as a backup.
Yeah, did I mention that, you got paid maybe $300
yes, you
on
did.
a deal?
You did.
Yeah.
Right? And they were like the last resort. They always took the tough deals that the banks turned down. Like you used to get job letters written on a napkin. Like it was very different back then. It's evolved so much. I was talking to a friend of mine, and even the last 10 years it's evolved. And he was a broker 10 years ago. He's a lender now. He goes, based on what brokers do today, he says, I would have stayed in the industry. Because you can build a very successful business And it's like, who
Very
goes
much
to
so.
who goes to school to be a mortgage broker? No. Nobody. You know, you kind of fall into it. You guys came from the banking side.
Yep.
You know, I came from the banking side, trust company side. So it's a wonderful business, and it's only going to get better, I
agree.
think, you
I
know,
agree.
because of you now are financial advisors.
Yep.
You know, and for First National, we've only ever dealt with brokers. We're not a direct-to-consumer lender. We don't want to be. So it would have been like, you know, against where we're working with you guys all the time.
That's right.
And where we've built this successful company, it's truly because of the brokers who have worked with us for 35 years.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and it's grown. I'm starting to work with children of brokers that came into this industry, you know, and it's amazing to see the evolution of this business, and I only see great things going forward.
I couldn't agree more.
So you've seen the evolution. How about from the Excalibur side? Have you seen a shift? That used to be like, we can't get anywhere else. Are we going there? Versus now with, you know, the complexity, and we talk about this every day. We feel like every deal is a challenge. It's a struggle.
Yeah.
There's no more cookie cutters anymore.
No.
Which, you know, used to be our bread and butter. And so from the Excalibur and on the B side, you guys have really claimed your stake with the home trust. So when you talk about First National as a whole battling the banks, the Excalibur's now in there, like, you know, you're top of mind with the home trust or Equitable banks.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
how was that from a perspective? Was that organic? Was it just the brokers believed in you and they gave it a shot? Is there something that's separate?
Yeah, it was in the beginning, because you are somebody new into the space, right? And everybody has a relationship set. We wanted to bring a difference to Excalibur. And some of what I had seen in this industry when it came to a B client, it was almost like they were a second-class citizen. You know, and we didn't want that. Like, they're just as great as an A client. They really are. You know, their circumstances could be, a credit, something happened in the credit, a story behind that, or a business for self client. Like, I mean, this country is built on small businesses. So that was sort of the mentality that we wanted to bring, that this mindset would be different dealing with this client, because they're just as valuable as a prime client, first of all. And secondly, we wanted to bring that service, you know, mentality that we've always had on the prime side to the B side, which you didn't necessarily get that either on the alternative side. So, and customer focused. You know, I get razzed all the time about why we don't pay on renewals on the alternative side, because, you know, our competitors do.
Sure.
We could have, but we always wanted, again, to bring that client the best rate, the best product, because that would have been different if we were paying. Right? And it's different too. Back then, an alternative client, 1 year. They're not like that anymore, you know, especially business for self clients. They're not going to show more income, and as shouldn't they? Because for the rate that you're paying, like, the rates are pretty good.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Or
at all.
the taxes that you could possibly pay on income tax. Why? Why move to the prime side? Stay in the alternative side. So that's we want to be a customer focused lender, and we had that with the prime side, and we wanted to bring it to the alternative side too.
We always have a portion of the podcast where we offer a piece of advice, and there's lots that you can offer. But when we talked about the B, I really want you to share. I think new brokers, and we bring a lot from the banks, really struggle. And I'm not sure if it was a struggle for you at the beginning. Having a conversation with a client to say, I need to bring you to the alternative side. You've seen so many successful brokers that just live in that space. That's all they do, right? What advice could you give to any of the brokers that are listening to say, you know, get rid of that stigma that you're right, the B client is a secondary citizen or second-class citizen? Well, what advice can you give them, whether it's a mindset shift, a conversational piece? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think it's up your alley.
Really great question, Paul.
Thanks.
Yeah, it
Thanks,
is a
Dad.
great question. You know, it's funny. Clients aren't like brokers always assume that clients, they're not going to take it. They're going to be upset at that. they're the ones that actually stay with you more than checking out what the competition is. Like, they really are more committed to the broker. I think a lot of brokers think the alternatives business is difficult. It's not. It's actually, I think it opens the possibilities. You know, you use your brain a little bit more. You're thinking of solutions. You're trying to be creative. That's where I think brokers have a misconception that it's more difficult. It is not. I mean, I understand new brokers coming into this space and not understanding it. We, for our company, we do educational days. We do training to help you, for the new brokers, to help them understand, to get more comfortable with putting a B deal or an alternative. People don't like saying B, right? So an alternative deal together. And once you get the hang of it, it's actually great business to have. It is. It really is. You're not going to get the shoppers like you get with the prime, right? They're always about the rates. And, you know, you're providing a solution, sometimes a temporary solution, or you're providing a solution for a business owner that not a lot of people would look at. So it's a good business.
I absolutely agree. Danny, I've
Hey,
been
Paul.
doing all the questions.
I know you've been really killing it today. I'm not gonna lie. You've been incredible today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just like fresh mind.
It's
all the
great.
stuff we did.
On a
Working
Friday, too.
We had a great workout today.
Yesterday we did cold plunge and
Cold plunge,
sauna.
yeah.
The place opened up. So yeah,
We're just
trying to
taking care of ourselves, you know?
So I was at a conference last week, and Dr. Robin Hanley Defoe mentioned that cold plunges are great for men, not good for women.
How come?
Something with, like, okay, we're built differently, but something to do with our blood vessels or something. It's not a good thing for women.
Got it.
Great for you guys, though. And you do it every week?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yesterday, someone had to coach me to stay in there for longer than 30 seconds. I absolutely hate it.
I couldn't.
There's very few things that
I could live in it.
There's very few things that I really despise. You know, like, is there anything in life where you're like, I'm like dreading going? So I'll send this, and then these guys all jump in. They're in there 3-4. Dan's like, yeah, you got to carry me out of this place. I can just chill in here. And I'm like, I'm having pneumonia looking at you. It's not fun for me, but anyways,
I would
it's a
hate
test.
it. I tried it. Like, I think I got up to my knees. I went, I'm out. I don't like to be cold, period. So
What was
yeah,
cool at
I'm
this
out.
place, though, that what they
I
had is,
doesn't like to be cold either.
no, I hate being cold.
Yeah, see?
They have this bucket that you just like pull
Yes,
down on, and it's
I
free.
did that, yes, I did
that was
that.
not bad because it's like a quick shock. But the
I did
sitting
that.
in, did you?
Yes.
It's not fun being cold.
It was getting into, like, fully immersed into the water. I could only get to my knees. I went, I'm out. Yeah.
But that's interesting that
Then I went to
hear
the
that.
hot tub.
Yeah, the hot tub's great. I'm a hot tub guy too.
Yeah.
I think.
It's not so much about sitting in a cold tub of water. It's I've really learned over the last little bit to really embrace uncomfortable situations, because if you're able to just get through the pain, what can come after that is magical. Like the ability to be in control can only happen after you embrace the pain. So that's the reason I really enjoy, like, our trainer is really big on, you know, if it hurts, just you got to get through it, because if you can mentally get through it, there's nothing that can stop you. And that's why I really, really, really enjoy pushing myself and really embracing in the moment things that make me uncomfortable, as opposed to trying to just get them to be done. Like, I'm not counting down the seconds to get out of the tub. I'm enjoying the process.
Now, do you apply this to your
Everything.
everyday work?
Everything. And I take every nuance in my day-to-day practice as an opportunity to get better and not have to feel stressed all the time. It's a very stressful job that we have, you know.
I agree.
You know, from all the way from start to finish, it's incredibly stressful. It's not conducive to your health. It's not something, like, if you can't control that piece, it's really challenging to be successful in this business. It takes a long time to understand that being stressed is not conducive to solving the issue. And these sorts of practices that are independent of mortgage brokering really help put things in perspective, that embrace the pain and enjoy the process. There is always a solution at the end of everything. you know. So it's really, really helped me, you know, be able to do more business and just be happier.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
And relieve your stress.
Yeah.
It is a stressful business.
Really
I
stressful
don't disagree
business.
with. You know, it's always, you think you have a great successful year and then it starts all over again.
Resets.
Right? It's always
it's just like athletes. Doesn't matter how many goals you scored last year or how well you perform. It's a brand new season.
But I get so excited. Like when I used to get scared. I used to get scared that the volume
wasn't going to come in.
resets to zero. It used to scare me. We do coaching in December, and I'm freaking out. Am I going to be able to do the volume again? Am I going to be able to feed my family? I've really flipped it on its axis. I'm excited for it to go back to zero.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just like BDMs.
Yeah.
Like we have the same, like I always equate brokers and us lenders have dealing with the same issues, right? We have a great year and then it starts all over and the stress and always that target you're always trying to get, or that goal you're always trying to achieve.
And results are always in front of you.
Results,
There's always
yes.
the scorecards, the standings,
Always.
the result, you know,
Always.
efficiencies. So, but you need to be a particular type of person. And if you don't like
Yes.
seeing it, this isn't where you need to be,
I agree.
right? And on both sides, BDMs, it's right in front of them. What your account's doing, where you need. So
Yeah.
nothing changes. But you had any questions?
No.
None at all.
No.
How about the prediction for 2025? You like hearing? Come on.
After you.
Well, I'm always on the positive side.
Yes,
Same.
you are.
Right? Why think that it's going to be, hate people, oh, it's going to be a shitty year. No. I think it's going to be a very good year. You know, Trump with the whole freaking tariff thing, threw that wrench into it. But we were having a great Q4. Fantastic Q4. January has been phenomenal.
Yeah, for us too.
We started seeing a bit of a slowdown.
Yes.
Once he came into office.
Yeah.
You've probably seen the same thing. But I think I saw Benjamin Tall this week,
great.
right?
Yeah.
And he says it's just a whole bunch of blustering that he's doing, right? It's not really going to happen. So I think once that kind of settles, people will feel a little bit more comfortable.
Benjamin Tal, CIBC.
Yes. I was at the Terranet Market Insights
nice.
presentation this week, which was really good.
What did he predict for rate cuts? 1% or 1.5%? Because they're usually a little more aggressive than the rest of the big banks.
I saw this on Instagram.
What did he
somewhere.
say? Because TD was really aggressive at one point. Everybody was saying it was going to be 2% overnight by the end of the year, or
about 2 to 2.5%.
Right.
Yes,
I think they've all predicted one over the year, and some of them said 50 basis points on a certain ones, a quarter. I saw all the banks, but I think CIBC was a little bit more aggressive.
they usually
I
are.
think they might have been 1.25 or 1.5, where most of the other ones were 1.
Yeah, the expectation in March that it'll be a quarter.
Yeah.
And then the next one maybe another quarter. Yeah. I mean, if inflation keeps going,
Right,
who knows what's
right.
going to happen? And then the condo market, that's a whole
Yeah,
other
yeah.
That's
issue.
Paul's favorite market.
That's Dan's favorite market.
But
Lots of opportunity.
well, that's what Benjamin Tall said, because the
Lots of
developers
opportunity.
aren't building anymore, right?
It's too expensive.
Right. So right now there may be an influx of condos.
That's
But when 2 years from now,
2028.
right?
Condo prices doubling.
That's what he actually said, that because there won't be any new development. So there'll be a short. Yeah, he said.
There's also going to be what might be a change in government that might, help with the development levies from the, so there's.
Yeah. So you're on the same page. Yeah.
Maybe I listened to it.
Or maybe you did.
What do we do? We talk about stuff that we do for stress relief. How about you? You're on the road. Most of the time I talk to you, you're away somewhere. Yeah. And people think that it's so glamorous, like living out of hotel rooms. That's really not. I know we've talked about that. So what do you do? What do you do for, just to kind of relax?
I'm not a stressful person. I'm pretty laid
Chill.
back.
Yeah, I
I'm
can feel
pretty
that.
chill.
Yeah.
I always have been. It's just I don't let things get to me.
Good for you.
I mean, we all have bad days.
Of
Like
course.
I'd be bullshitting if I didn't have a bad day here or there. I just give it 24 hours. That's why I don't get mad at people either. Like if I get very frustrated at somebody, I always think to myself, okay, just give it 24 hours, because your mindset is very different after 24. Like in the moment,
Pause.
you pause, right? And even Dr. Hanley, I love this woman. Follow her; she's fantastic.
You must read a lot or watch stuff. That's I thought
Yeah.
you were
Do you know
gonna say-
Dr. Hanley? Have you heard
I
of
thought you were going to say Dr. Phil.
Sorry, Dr. Robin Hanley DeFore. I had her as our speaker we just came back from our January sales conference, all the sales. Yeah. So she was a presenter, and then I went to Be the Better Broker conference in Whistler. Mm-hmm. She was also a presenter there too. But and if, of course, you must get conversations where people are like really yelling and screaming at you because they're upset about something, and you just give them 90 seconds. As she said, just give them 90 seconds, because then they realize that anger kind of goes away, and then you say to them, "Do you want comfort or do you want a solution?" Because sometimes people just want you to listen to them because of what they're angry about, or sometimes they want a solution from you. So
And you say that to them, and they don't take it.
No, you give them 90 seconds first. Yeah,
yeah.
You're not going to say it right
of
away
course.
because they're that anger piece.
Yeah.
But after 90 seconds, most people's anger kind of dissipates.
Wow.
That initial.
I practice the pause a lot.
Yeah.
What came to your mind if someone said, "Do you want a
Comfort
or solution?" You think they'd
Whether they take it like
you're being facetious or
condescending
right.
like,
Oh, that's another thing. I don't care if somebody's yelling at me or screaming at me. I don't like it when somebody's condescending. That bothers me more than somebody like, yelling.
yeah, because when somebody's screaming, they're just being emotional. They're not like screaming at you. They're just letting out what's really bottled up. But if somebody's being condescending, it's really towards
malicious.
You. And that's why I'm wondering, like, if somebody's super upset, and then you give them the 90 seconds, and then you say to them, "Do you want a solution or comfort?" Could it come off that way? Do you think?
Comfort being.
Yeah, just listening.
You just want me to listen to you.
Yeah.
You don't want me to tell you what to do. Yeah. You don't want anything else but just for me to be here to listen to you.
Yeah. Guess we'll never know until we
most
try
people
it.
want a solution.
We'll try it.
If it's a broker, most of them want a solution.
Well, for sure.
True, right? They're not.
Maybe
they're
they
not
want both.
Maybe they want both. Yeah, exactly.
That's really incredible. Well, this has been awesome. I don't have anything else. I think we had a lot of fun. We got through your story. We talked about the broker channel and what makes you guys so special, and what your thoughts on it. And
can I ask you guys
so much.
something?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys were.
What? I can't get excited.
You're so excited.
Well, very few people come here asking us questions.
Oh, I love
it's nice.
it. No, I'm having a lot of fun here.
Same.
Because you guys were in the banking for so long, right? And what made you decide to transition over to like the broker space?
You want me to take that?
Yes. Well, you first.
I knew he wanted me because it's sort of like an evolution. So I wasn't in banking for that long, to be honest. I was I was in school, and I really wanted to work at a bank, and I was able to get a job as a teller. So my entire banking career, from teller to quitting, was 5 years. 5 years, yeah, 5 years. So I was a part-time financial service representative. Paul recently got appointed to manage a team. They pieced apart the team that was there because they didn't want to give him a $1 billion team or a really like high producing team. They wanted him to kind of earn his stripes. So I was working part time, and one of the guys that he hired that he knew for a long time moved to a condominium close to the branch that I worked at. And when you're a mobile mortgage specialist at the bank, you can't sign your own deals. You need a branch rep to do it so that you can avoid collusion and fraud and whatever. And also it gives an opportunity for the branch to talk to the customers about credit protection.
Okay.
So because I worked evenings, a lot of mortgage customers want to meet in the evening after they're done work. So I would do a lot of these signings for this mobile mortgage specialist. And there was one file in particular where he wasn't able to be at the meeting, but it was a really rush file for a customer that had a closing the next day. Whatever the circumstance was, I handled it, and then I called him the mobile mortgage specialist to say, hey, it's all handled. You're good. Have a great evening. And he kind of said to Paul, look, there's this guy there. I think he would be really good for your team. So then Paul came, didn't like me at all.
Come on.
No, didn't like me at all.
True story.
I said, okay, he doesn't like me. Send the next one. So
Sorry, what didn't you like about him? What was it?
He was.
I was wearing suspenders.
It wasn't just the look. It wasn't just he was wearing white.
I'm a big suspenders
He was
guy,
wearing white suspenders. He was very flashy.
Big suspender guy.
I mean, not flashy, but stylish and standing out. And he was extremely confident, which is great. But at the same time, it came off
Cocky?
to me a little bit. I wouldn't want to call him cocky. I don't think he was. But again, I don't think he earned his stripes. He went from teller to this financial thing.
I know the exact moment. I can tell you the exact moment.
And just the way he would answer things.
I know the exact moment.
Okay, what was it?
The bank is very much about having customers purchase credit protection. Understandably so. They have to answer to their shareholders. I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's a one size fits all product, in my opinion.
I agree.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
The management team that supported the sales managers was very much driven by the amount of sales that would happen. So there was a conversation that sparked between Paul and I about credit protection. And I shared, perhaps arrogantly, my thoughts that it's not a one size fits all approach. So my combative way to something that has been told to the sales team that needs to be really kind of undertaken and sold to the customers was something that didn't take well. But I also didn't approach it the right way.
It's not what you say; it's how you say it.
Right.
It was actually the
True,
answer.
but he was an outlier.
No, it doesn't. It's a product. I think it was just the approach to the answer at the time.
For sure.
It wasn't that I needed everyone to. But anyways, so that was that, and then.
So anyways, long story short, I really didn't want to work for Paul, and he kind of took a step back. So I told my manager, who actually mentored him when he became a teller, and then who was my mentor at the bank at like 10 years later, which is super cool, said, okay, if he's not going to take you on, then I'll put you in front of somebody else. So she put me in front of somebody else, and she was happy with what I was saying, and she wanted to put forward an offer, but Anna then messaged Paul on the side to say, look, Maria, like the other manager's going to offer Dan. Do you want to maybe like rethink your strategy here? So she had his back,
Oh.
So he.
Is this the mentor that
yeah.
you're talking about?
Yeah.
Wow.
She's incredible. Yeah, she
was my first manager.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes,
that's
yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
And you both had the same mentors.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, so he came to the branch and, waited for me to walk by his office and to hand me some mail. And
sounds like a cat and mouse game. I know.
So
she's like, is this
like you're dating?
She's like, is this like a dating or what? Yeah.
So anyways, he goes, hey Dan, come here. So I come in. He starts riddling me with mortgage questions, like riddling me. And I have
a method to my madness.
Yeah.
I've recruited a lot of people, and a lot of people have followed. So there's
No, for sure. And I think I did pretty good.
Yeah.
So he pushed me
well.
into a first interview, where that was really fun for him too. Just kind of getting to know me and me getting to know him. But anyways, I really took his tutelage to heart. And the reason this podcast is called Excellence of Execution is because I really followed and executed on everything that we spoke about in our coachings, which were on a monthly basis. And to this day, we coach together. It got to a point where the bank was just a little bit too challenging to the type of clients that I have. So a lot of BFS type clients, a lot of clients with multiple properties. The bank started to restructure and just be challenging. And then my mom gets in my ear and she's like, look, you need to be able to service more than just a TD customer. So she started to push me, and I'm getting all these
like
declines.
your mother.
Oh, she's big. My mom's big time.
Within 18 months, Daniel was top 185 out of 1,200.
I was hustling.
Right? So
because I turned down a job paying $250K to go be a commissioned sales guy at a bank selling mortgages. Like like you said, I didn't go to school to sell mortgages, but it was an opportunity, and I really took it, by the horns. And it got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore. So then, it was a very tough conversation to have with Paul, but ultimately he said, look, man, like you got to take care of you and yours. And, if it means that you can't be a part of my team anymore, I'm going to have to support you. And in fact, after I did leave, after interviewing like 10 brokerages and deciding where I'm going to go, and I really, when I chose Clear Trust, I really went with my gut. Like, I didn't get the best split that was offered, but I felt the most at home. And that was more important to me than money. And it still is to this day. And, Paul being Paul, continued to coach me on a monthly basis. I don't know if people are allowed to know that. Yeah. And, and then, 3 months into me being here, I started telling him, like, you got to come. Like, we need it.
Janice worked for me. They're on the same team.
Yes.
So now there's a whole recruitment squad on the Vice
Right.
trying to bring me over to get to the next level. And for me, the bank, I was there 15 years. So I did
That's
a
a
whole
long
bunch
time.
of roles.
Yeah.
I was a management associate. And then I got into more sales, that entrepreneurial spirit. I wanted to run the team. I ran a mortgage specialist team for 4 years. I was one of the top 10 teams majority of the years. Really built it. And then there's things in any corporate structure that change for the better, for the worse. And they wanted to start changing the way referrals were coming in, the back office. There was a lot of disgruntled staff of mine. And Daniel left, and then Miguel left. Janice left 7-8 months earlier. And so now you start seeing
Janice left 2 years earlier.
Sorry, 2 years
Janice
earlier. My
left
mistake.
the day I joined.
That's
Really?
right. Yeah.
I
First
walked
meeting,
into
yes.
It's in the night.
Yes.
I walked into a team meeting on May 1st, 2017.
That's right.
It was Janice's last team meeting.
Yeah.
I looked at her and said, "Hi, my name is Daniel Finkelberg." She said, "Hi, Finkelberg, cute name. I'm leaving."
Yeah, literally.
Wow.
Yeah. And there was a lot of, you're going to be the next,
VP.
AVP,
Yeah,
this, that.
yeah.
And, then it comes time, conversations are had, and it's like, okay, well, you got to go do this first and go do that first. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's really what I want to do. And then you have them knocking on the door, and it was just a perfect storm. And to leave, I'm not a person that likes change.
Yeah.
Like, I think I
Also,
slept with the same pillow like for 100 years.
Two daughters, young daughters.
Two young
right?
daughters,
No
yeah.
salary.
2 young daughters, no salary.
Yeah.
I was walking away from basically over 200K.
Yeah. But it was your
guaranteed.
gut. Like you mentioned your gut instinct, and I've relied on that
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
so
big time.
many
Big
times
time.
throughout my career. Go with your gut
Yep.
because it's always right.
And so when I joined January 2020, it was Dan, Miguel, Janice, Yenny, and Musi, who are still here. There was 12 employees.
Yeah.
87 million was what they funded.
Yeah. So me and Miguel joined June of 19.
That's right. I came Jan 2020. March 2020, the world shuts down.
Yes.
But
But it was fantastic,
It was.
right? The
Blessed.
volumes were
they
like
were.
crazy.
And now we're at over 100 in Ontario employees, and with about 70 agents or so. And last year we did 1.6 billion. So
It's amazing.
yeah, it's been a great story.
How it's evolved, how you guys have been so successful.
I think Reuven said something really really important before. It's we're just scratching the surface. Is really the way I look at things. And then what you mentioned is the involvement in the broker community is only going to continue to evolve for the better, and to have people in management positions, in management seats like yourself that understand that and embrace it is the reason why it's actually going to happen. Because if you have people in management seats that are going to continue to have, for example, deals be underwritten on paper, nothing's going to change. But if you have people with vision living in the future, there's an opportunity for folks to get really good advice and really good service faster, cheaper, and better. And that's what the broker community needs to evolve to.
Yeah. Oh, there'll be changes, but I think you always need that human
For sure.
aspect when it comes to the underwriting piece. If you just look at the numbers, if a computer just looks, it never works. Doesn't work. You guys are always will be needed in this industry. Oh, I don't see it going anywhere. I
agree.
truly don't.
I agree. I think that there will be automation for certain items, but
Document reading,
Yeah.
pre-approvals,
Fraud prevention,
automatic, yeah,
stuff
that
like that.
stuff.
Yeah.
But those people still want you to sit across from them and tell them, because majority is the biggest major investment in their
100%.
life. Majority of
100%.
people,
Yeah.
and they need you to guide them, to help them.
1,000%. Like
Right.
think about, the amount of deals that you've seen or touched, the type of advice that you can offer, it's invaluable. Like even something as small as letting a customer know before they actually go to paper an agreement to say, if you buy inside of Toronto, you got to pay 2 taxes on land transfer. That, and that's the smallest thing that you can offer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like a computer might not be able to tell you that just quite yet. So you know, it's I'm very, very excited to see what's going to happen, and I am a very positive, you know, person in terms of these sorts of things, perhaps too positive, but I believe that a lot of people are going to have banner years this year, specifically mortgage brokers and banks.
Yeah.
I really do believe that.
Oh, what a great way to end.
And First National.
Yes, First National. You've been an absolute pleasure. This was so much fun.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming
on.
on.
It's been a joy, actually. Like, I learned a lot from you guys today.
We learned a lot from you, outside the Portuguese stuff.
I think we taught you today.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.